What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker, and today with Flood Magazine, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by Chuck D, Public Enemy. Thank you for coming through to Flood Magazine, sir.
My friend, longtime friend, Soren Baker. What's up, bro?
Man, everything is good. Well, relatively speaking. It's good that we're speaking.
Who said, what planet you on, bro?
Yeah, exactly. I try to keep everything good. Relatively speaking, things are going well, but we got a lot of madness in the world, and unfortunately, some things have seemingly gotten a lot worse very quickly, and that's something that you address on your new Public Enemy album. What you're going to do when the grid goes down?
Yeah.
And on the song "Grid" in particular, you talk about our reliance on grid and technology and different things. And I thought it was interesting, as somebody that's obviously been listening, studying, and talking to you for so long. When I talked to you back probably in '99 for There's a Poison Going On, it was about the benefits of the technology and releasing the album on the internet and everything you did was.
I love it. I still love it. Yeah. So I guess you're saying, like, is there a flip there? The only flip there, Soren, is in a 20-year period, just be careful of your tool becoming a toy. If you 0 to 15 and you get a hold of a gadget or a device, why wouldn't it be a toy? You're a child. The problem happens to be when it's like, how much do I wean off of it being a toy, and how much do I engage in it being a tool to work for me? That's the schism that I don't think has been met in the society, although we have crossed over into officially being netizens and less citizens, but with no kind of like clear ushering into that mode. If anything, probably ushered us into the netizen era by default was the pandemic, which basically said, stay in the crib, don't go nowhere, use your internet to connect with each other.
Sadly is the case. But then how you also mentioned on the song the socially engineered anarchy. So now that we have this grid and now that we have this technology, because socially engineered anarchy has been going on for centuries, of course. So how?
Yeah, but not blanketed across everybody as individuals and having their own take on it all at once. I mean, we was broadcasting, but you turn on the radio and it was casted to everybody on a broad scale. This time, everybody's engaged on their phone, but they can make individual decisions based on how they're hit and how they're met. But also, they think that they're engaging themselves with something they can't see. So what's the difference sometimes in programming or following? You know, you could be following something that's already programmed you into making a decision that they do the A and B at you. United States right now is thrown with an A and B. So you definitely got to clarify and define the A and B. Like I clarify it in the voting process. If you black, just dealing with black people, it's like the side that you're on versus the side that hates you. As simple as that. You can't get into semantics or pontificate on the theories of why there's some good here and why there's some bad there. There's a side that clearly hates you versus the side that you're on. And the reason I say they clearly hate you or spreading hate, because they say that your lives don't matter or your lives don't matter as much. Black Lives Matter is bigger than an organization, or as they bound it together with Antifa and they think it's about organizations. No, it's about a movement of people that feel that they don't matter in a country that we've been in so long. And so those arguments get lost in a hyperbole and a swirl that still don't convince younger people that we do matter. And these movements that stepped on out with the murder of George Floyd was young energy that said, you know what? It got to a point where the tipping point was, man, every time we turn in the pages on another name, it's like, F that. And we got to stay inside. So the tipping point was George Floyd. And young people that said, we're not going to have it no more. And the fact when you have a president at the top that says that, yeah, you might be stepping to your locale, but if you take down any one of those monuments, even if those monuments are saying, fuck you, I'm going to give you a 10-year bid.
Right.
That's a slap at your existence.
Well, it's the unfortunate and horrific reality, as you're well aware, of our country's arbitrary enforcement of the law or arbitrary enforcement of rules that, you know, there's supposed to be one set of rules and laws universally, but they're not uh, enacted equally, and they haven't never been.
We got a whole bunch of things swirling, Um, like look, the Proud Boys. Half of the Proud Boys, I promise you, probably don't think that they're racist,
I'm sure they don't.
and they probably think that they're also victim of following a lot of derogatory images of people of color and black people that probably are not true, probably concocted from somewhere else. You always have to have an education in society when you start throwing images and symbols out there, and even commodities like films and music. They always got to be great curators. And I think the curators is not enough of curators in positions where they could curate and narrate the amount of content flying at people at faster speeds than ever, the amount of symbols that are hurled around and floating right in front of our face. This is almost like why you can't knock scholarship, you can't knock tenure, you can't knock, historians, because readers and scholarships and scholars gotta like digest and kind of like swim in, soak in, comprehend the books they don't want to read or the history they don't want to read. And then they read the things that they kind of agree with or read that they know they have to debate with themselves to be able to pull out before they go hash mark fact or hash mark facts. We in culture, or me as a reader, you might be different because you're an author, but I spend the time reading what I want to read and what I like to read and things I'm engaged and interested in. Scholars really don't do that. Scholars got to go through the bullshit.
Well,
True scholars.
that's to your point. Everyone's always surprised when I have all these references from music they don't like or don't listen to. And I was like, well, I love rap.
Right.
I listen to all rap, whether I like it or not. Obviously I prefer certain things, but
Right.
if I'm going to really be able to do my job at the highest level, I have to understand as much of it as possible all the time.
Right.
I
Right. You
can't,
get.
if Public Enemy, for instance, is my favorite group, but that's all I listen to, then I can't really address rap.
So that's dogmatic.
Yeah,
That's some of the things that religion and also corporations and a lot of branding, all that is triggered, and it's like this is what it is, and nothing else matters, and nothing else counts. Right on up to the top, Soren. This is the United States of America, and nowhere else on the planet counts. When the United States of America detaches itself from the rest of the planet, that's a problem that's going to manifest itself.
and it is.
Unfortunately. But the goon at the top is probably the most narcissistic situation that we've ever seen. Me from New York, I've seen this clown show, man, since the 70s, man. Half-baked football team owner, falsified real estate, um, half-baked celeb, real estate, three-card Monty shyster that pulled a three-card Monty trick on the half of the United States of America. And everybody else in the world is like, how did shit happen on y'all's watch?
Right. Well,
I'll ask you a question, sorry.
mm-hmm.
There's a big, shiny building on the east side of Manhattan called the United Nations. When the last time you was in that building?
It's been a while. I've only been in there like twice, and it's
Obsolete.
yeah,
Why?
because we're not part of it. We don't act like we're part of it.
That's true, and it also they've sucked the power out of it.
Right.
It's supposed to have been a building to keep everybody in check, to understand that this is one world. So we've seen how that building and that premise has been reduced because wave the flag for the United States of America like we on another planet, man. Come on, man.
Well, that in addition to all of our other problems, thanks to, I would say, thanks in part to Trump, because this is happening long before him, but America's more xenophobic than ever, and that is accelerated under him. But that's a problem that's been going on, since before America was a country, probably.
Right. And I mean, when President Obama was in office, he understood it was there. But he at the top of the country said, listen, I got to try to figure out how to neutralize some of these feelings and try to be the president of the United States. Knowing damn well that the United States is not united. Nothing lasts forever, sorry. And maybe the philosophy of how the United States existed because of collectible strengths in the past was maybe something that worked incredibly well for the 20th century, not the 21st.
Right.
The world always adapts, but the adaptation for people who might feel that they have something to lose is a scary concept.
Yeah.
Very scary. And that's what we're facing right now. We're facing fear,
Well, fear is very, very powerful.
Yep. Fear of a planet, not even fear of a black planet. We understood that. Now it's fear of a planet trying to dictate the narrative of how the United States should act accordingly and be responsible and accountable for what it's spewing.
Right. Yeah. Well, one of the more inspirational verses on What You're Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down to me was on the Public Enemy #1, the remake of that by DMC, where he was talking about how he overcame some of his challenges personally with addiction and different things, and then how he became the superhero. So for you, as somebody who's written a lot of great stories yourself in song, when you hear a verse like that, and as someone that loves rap, what does that do for you artistically, creatively, as somebody that has looked up to DMC?
It shows the power of the medium. A rap song could change the world for thought, soul, music, and meaning for the better. It's a communication in the language of culture that kind of ties us together for our similarities and knocks the differences to the side. The shining moment for me personally on What You're Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down is Run trading off that mic to DMC. To me, I was over the top. Just that trade-off, that 17-second trade-off from Run to DMC is pretty much the beauty of this art form. On that record, I felt free, and my conversation with Run, because me and D work all the time. But my conversation, I was tenuous going to Run, and Run was totally over the top and enthusiastic about doing it. And when he said, kind of like, what was the direction? I just told Run, just be you, bro. And he said the talk that I gave him reinvigorated him to go out there and rhyme, because I told him to go out there and just be rhyme, do whatever, say whatever you want. And he said it's like he said it freed the chains off him. He wants to rhyme and he wants to, to do it. That to me was a joyful moment. And then also Adam and Mike breaking their pact of knowing that they really didn't break it, because they were like, we're not going to rhyme on the record, but we will contribute to that song, because they're the ones that, along with Jay and MCA, dragged me into Def Jam because of that song. That was the song that Rick Rubin chased me for 2 years to have.
That's amazing.
So
And
that's the amazing story about the grid. Other than Uncle George Clinton leading us, the amazing story is that story of Run-DMC and Mike and Adam of the Beasties.
and one other thing, just as a hip hop fan that I loved was the DJ Lord solo section toward the end of the song.
Yeah, and Terminator does the cuts all the way up to that. So Terminator passing it to Lord, and it's also Dre at the end of it from a WBAU broadcast. And Dre's going through it right now, you know, amputated his leg, but which made it better for him dealing with his diabetes and his blindness and dealing on the aftermath of COVID. So we got some fundraisers coming up for Dre. So I mean, you know, we just try to keep as positive as possible as possible.
And for those that don't know, that's Dr. Dre from Original Concept, Yo MTV Reps, etc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I let people know it's like um Yo MTV Raps names itself Yo MTV Raps off of Yo Bum Rush the Show. So it's all this full circle thing, you know?
Right. Well, there it is. Man, it's
Yeah.
always so much to talk about when we chop it up, Chuck, but I appreciate your time as always. Thank you for coming through.
I thank you for the books that you're putting out there, and it's very informative. And I'm thinking about doing a book show on Rap Station.
Hmm.
So look out for me to reciprocate this to talk to you about, you know, your books. And as you keep writing more and more, I'm like, we need it. We need you to keep curating.
I appreciate it, Chuck.
All right, bro.